Hi guys, and welcome back. We're going to do a little masking here. This is one of those windows that has a pass-through. It's a kitchen window, and it has a screen that kind of slides over, so it's really kind of hard to mask the bottom edge of this. But we'll get on past this here in a minute. I'm going to talk to you guys a little about film, window film, stuff like that, and you guys can make your own decisions. But this is my experience with some of this stuff, so maybe it'll help you decide what to do when you're buying your masking material. This is actually a product by Trimaco instead of the 3M. They have the 3M masker and masking film. The 3M masker is, you can't, there's no real good substitution for it. The angle of the blade and stuff like that is just really just right. And they've got patents all over that thing. So the masking material you're seeing there is actually put on with a hand masker. And so they have a 3M hand masker. You can, if you don't have one of those things are just absolutely necessary for house painting to me. And you use this film, and the film from Trimaco is slightly thicker than the 3M. And the problem that I have with the 3M stuff is it tears really easy. And if you notice, I'm using blue tape on the top. When I'm putting on the film, I like to use blue tape for the film, for the top, because what happens is sometimes the orange tape, it works. I mean, you can use it, but sometimes the orange tape gets, I don't know, tangled, I want to say, on the film. So the blue tape doesn't, and I don't know, it works a little bit better, but it is expensive. I mean, the blue tape's very expensive, so, if you want to use the orange, I don't blame you. I think the orange actually works good too. If you get used to it, you can use the orange. But I had some blue tape, so I just used the blue on the top for the film, to put the film on. So you put the film on, and then you see how it unfolds there. That's the product. Maybe I'll put a link in the description for one of those hand maskers so you'll know what it is. And since I'm not showing you the use of that in this video, I'm just showing you the taping. And it unfolds, and even the Trimaco plastic has some static built into it. If you get the 3M red plastic, they have red and black. The black plastic is similar to the Trimaco, but it's a little thinner. The red plastic has a little bit more static built into it. So if you have a windy day and you're trying to mask windows, you're going to find it a little bit difficult with this masking material here. You may want to ante up and buy the 3M red. So when it's a little bit of wind or something like that, the static that's in that film. So when you pull that down, there's static that holds that against the glass. So that really makes it so much easier. That's why I don't have to do that much to it. I don't have to tack tape it and all that stuff, because the static is what's holding it against the glass. And the 3M does have a little bit more static to it. So you see how I just folded that and it just stays there. That's because there's static in the film to hold it against, keep it held against the glass. So the downside to the Trimaco plastic is that it doesn't have as much static in it. Okay, and also the 3M black. But secondly, it's a lot cheaper than the 3M. It's a lot cheaper than 3M. It's almost half the cost. You notice I'm just using 4-foot film. I just had some 4-foot film laying around, so I was just using that. And then I just fold it. Just flip it underneath like that. And then I'm actually tack taping it um, in the corners just to make it a little easier on myself. You can do it without that if you want. It just makes it a little easier, especially when I'm doing the folds like this. I'm folding it underneath instead of carrying around a razor knife, which, you know, it's good to do that if you want. You know, if you want to carry around a razor knife, that's up to you. But I don't usually have one, so I just fold it underneath. And then when you go to pull it off, you don't have any trash, you don't have any waste, you don't have any stuff to go back and get. You know, if you're cutting it off, you're always, you know, going around picking up all the trash and got little pieces of it, you know, blowing around in the wind if it's windy. So folding it is nice. You know, it's always a smart idea to do the folding technique. And some guys can actually put tape around the wrist. I think I showed somewhere in this video where I try to put it on my wrist just to show you that I cannot do that. My hands are way too big for putting it on my wrist. So I can't do that. Yeah, so I do my masking the way I'm showing here. I just I make myself into a masking machine, kind of, and then put it on. So both ways work good. The wrist technique works good. You end up with a lot of tape burn from doing that. Like you pull the tape off and it'll get the roll will get kind of on your wrist or something, and you'll get a little burn from that. This eliminates that, but it's nice to be able to carry it on your wrist. You know, it's nice when you can do that if you have smaller hands. But I cannot do that, so it's not an option for me. So some guys will do that. You know, it's a nice little handy thing to do if you have small wrists. You know. But so I just tack tape it. Don't really need to, but it would stay in place pretty much. But it's a little bit easier. And then instead of if you want a nice straight line when you pull it, like where I pull the tape and cut it with my fingers, you can use a putty knife, hold it on there, and rip it with the putty knife on there, and it'll give you a nice straight line if you want to do that. But I've got a lot of years in experience, so I can cut the end of it pretty straight, and then what I'll do is even if I miss a little area, I'll just flip it over and I'll use one of my little waste pieces and I'll just throw it on the corner where it's not straight. You know, it's not rocket science, guys. It's not that hard. So I do that. You know, it's all up to you on that part. You can do a lot of different ways. But yeah, I was having a little trouble with the tape sticking on this one. You know, I should have went down, got some lacquer thinner, some acetone, and wiped down the window. I think I just put it on there, and then when I was spraying it, I was just really careful around that window. And of course, it didn't blow underneath because I kind of knew it was like that. You know, that's experience there that tells you. So I'm just ripping off a little piece where my corner wasn't clean, and then ripping it a little straighter, and then kind of straightening it out with a piece of tape that way, versus using a razor knife or and using my putty knife. Some guys will hold their putty knife on the tape and then pull it, and then it'll rip a nice straight line. Some things that helps, you know, if you're doing a bunch of French windows or something like that, then having that putty knife to do the rip it straight, man, it can really save you some time with all those little corners. But on windows like this, to me it's faster to do it the way that I'm doing here, where you just use a little piece of tape and straighten it out as you go. So yeah, just there's another video coming up on this. It's going to be spray. At the end of this, I'm going to do just a little bit of caulking cracks. Just going to show you a glimpse of that. Maybe you just were watching this for masking, but you haven't watched the other videos on caulking the cracks. It's kind of the faster way to do it. If you notice, I put the tack tape down, fold it. That's why I was using the tack tape, to help make it a little easier to tuck it underneath like that. And that way, if it's underneath, then it doesn't blow up and blow down into your paint, so you don't have to worry about that. Some guys will just fold it upward and then put more tape on there, but then you waste tape. It's really up to you. Or if you really are trying to save money, you can always use a cardboard shield around all the windows. And that works too, as long as you're very, very, very careful and you have your pressure set just right. You can cardboard shield windows and actually not get any paint on them if you're very careful. It's completely up to you. There's a ton of different ways to do this. It's not rocket science, guys. It's just painting. So I'm getting all these windows all masked off. Quite a few in the back of the house. The front of the house doesn't have nearly as many. So, in fact, this house has a lot of windows. I'm just showing you right there. You couldn't get in the camera. I just showed you I cannot put that on my list. I thought I watched this earlier, and I was like, I thought I showed somewhere where I did that, but I didn't have myself in the frame. So it's hard to get it in frame because I'm just using an action camera on my hand. So anyway, then I go up the extension ladder and do it on the extension ladder. Just the same thing. It's best if you do real windows, set the ladder above the window. Typically, somebody set it above the window. Usually you can reach out far enough and do both sides of the bottom. Sometimes you got to do one side and then go move the ladder on the other side of the window. And, usually what I'll do is if I run into those kind of situations myself is I will be up there and I will do my masking with my spray gun with me. I'll bring a roll of tape up with me. Have the film up there already. Because I'll do the film on a separate. I'll just run through and do all my film. Just do it real quick with film, and then I'll come back with my tape to do the sides, and then I'll just go on the top high ones. I'll just do it all at once. I'll just leave the film up there and then just go up there with the spray gun. Do it and paint it. Sometimes I'll do that because if you have to set the ladder twice to go around the window, you might as well paint something while you're up there. So think about that. Try and not do too much laddering. Going up and down ladders all the way around the house. Every time you do that, it costs you time. When I'm painting by myself, like I was here, I did that for years by myself, and always, and I'm going to tell you guys, a lot of us are not hiring guys right now. We're not doing everything with one person because the labor cost in California especially is so high that you can't even make money on it. You charge, let's say you charge, $400 a day for yourself, or maybe $500, and a guy, wants $300 a day to work for you, and he doesn't even produce as much as you do. So basically, you're carrying that. You're basically giving them money to make the job get done. So you're not even making anything out of it. And that's the way it is right now. So I just, most of the time, it's just I see it for myself. The guys that I have, I've had guys before that especially now, you can actually lose money. You can actually, if I just sent guys out and said, hey, go paint this house, some of the guys that are out there now, I could just tell them, go paint this house, and when I got done, I'd just give the owner of the house, $800. Just give him $800. Might as well just give him $800 and not have to deal with.
Oh boy!
That's how it is.
I was smelling something.
Yeah,
I was like, I guess we're not going out.
Then they're worth.
She's happy to get her house done.
So I just
all right.
Don't hire them.
I'll just finish these later.
You need to get that much money. It's the cost of living.
This stuff doesn't even, forking ladders and everything doesn't even bother me still.
All this minimum wage increase.
I'm just so used to it.
Oh, that doesn't affect your business.
Nah.
Whatever.
Someday.
Whatever you think. That's fine. Because that's really what's happening. So anyway, what I'm doing right now, I'm just kind of doing the walkabout. I don't know, maybe I'm going to paint something. Oh no, I'm doing this is when I move into the cracks. So I jump into the cracks here. I'm going to do a little bit of caulking. This method of doing cracks, you can do cracks a lot of different ways. But this method here, you got to be a little more careful. And you'll look at it and you'll think, oh wow, you didn't remove all the caulking. But I did actually, because what happens when you get the caulking wet is it looks whiter, okay? And it looks like there's more on there. So you have to kind of know how much of that you're going to have to get off. And so you're going to use the brush with some water and then get it wet, and it kind of thins down the caulking, and you just keep agitating it like this until the crack is full and you don't have too much of it on the wall. If you leave too much caulking, you're going to have a spider web looking wall. So this isn't like the average guy can just do this type of thing. You got to know what you're doing. It takes a bit of practice, and believe it or not, when I'm done with this, you can't see the cracks. I don't show it dry yet. It was wet, and the caulking takes longer to dry than the stucco, especially when it's raw stucco like this. This has never been painted, so when you have that kind of stucco, it's gonna shiner until it's completely dry. And once it's completely dry, if you did your job right, you are not going to see the crack as long as you've got enough of that caulking off. You have to pretty much get it tight. If there's any thickness of caulking on there, what the brush and the water does is it thins the caulking down to where it's thinner than actually paint. So you can't even see it other than where the crack is filled. It's still there, but even in the corners and all that, you can't bridge it. You can't bridge the caulking or the crack with the caulking. You just can't do that. So yeah, you just got to be very careful. It's not a real easy way to do it, but it's fast and it comes out really good if you do it right. But again, if you want to try it, practice it, first couple times maybe you'll get cracks that'll show up, or maybe you'll do too much with the brush and it takes a lot longer to do it that way. If you really do a lot, it could take longer, especially when the stucco's raw like this. It just is really hard to fix cracks when the stucco's raw. This house hadn't been painted for 25 years, so 28 years and never been painted. It's been way too long, guys. Should be doing it way before then. Anyway, we're reaching pretty soon towards the end of the video. So thanks for watching. Make sure you like the video. Don't forget to make a comment if you see something you like or don't like. If you think that I'm crazy on this caulking method, you can always write that down in the comments. Doesn't matter to me. I know it works, and my cracks do not show up. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys in the next video, and I hope you enjoyed this. We'll do some spray videos coming up on this same house, so I'll talk to you then, and thanks for watching.